And I am a principal with HKA in Houston, Texas. I'm a forensic accountant and expert witness in matters involving economic damages and business valuation. Joining me today is Bob Gray. Bob, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hello, folks. I'm Bob Gray, a principal of the Gray Schrupp Associates in Dallas, and we sort of do the full scope of forensic litigation and valuation services, particularly those that are in litigation nationwide and sometimes internationally. But we're here today to kind of talk a little bit about the upcoming, what I'll call it, the 2025 Forensic Litigation and Valuation Services Conference for the Texas Society of CPAs. And to get there, it's going to be a little bit of a journey, but we're actually part of what they call the Summit Conference that the Texas Society of CPAs holds on an annual basis. This year they got 2 locations, and we're only going to be at one for the forensic and litigation valuation section. Uh, One will be in Richardson, the other one's going to be in San Antonio. So the Forensic Litigation Evaluation Services piece is only in San Antonio. And that's what we're going to talk about today and talk about some administrative type stuff and then tell you about some of the great speakers that we have coming to the program. So the conference, as I said, is inside the summit. It actually starts August 25th through 26th for the Forensic Litigation Valuation Services tracks. There are also some general tracks that the practitioners can go to increase their CPE, and I would encourage them to do that. I did that last year when our initial year at the Summit Conference as being part of that, and it was very enlightening. But they say you can get up to 20 hours of CPE. Again, we're not at the Richardson location, the Dallas location, just San Antonio only. So we're going to bring in some top-notch national and local experts and attorneys and talk about a variety of topics that are related to our niche in the CPA world. There is an optional session on Sunday, the 24th. I think it's in the afternoon. 2 sessions, banker or they're going to be talking about businesses relocating to Texas and the importance to accountants. I thought about that, and that's generally probably more so for the commercial people as well as but you'll have some M&A people, maybe M&A experts that want to kind of understand what's happening because of our advantages in Texas and all the new businesses that are coming in. The second one on Sunday is federal and estate planning when a client dies. Obviously, that's probably more for the tax people, but could impact valuation experts and learning a little bit. Again, those are optional and provide you with some additional CPE if you need it that Sunday down in San Antonio. So, San, who are some of the speakers that we got coming? You want to start off and we'll kind of go through a list, not in any priority or order, but kind of just tell
Sure.
them about the variety of topics that we got in speakers.
I'll go through a couple of the ones that I noted. First of all, Larry Cantor, Senior Managing Director at B. Riley. He's actually a former committee member for the Texas Society of CPAs. He's also a professor at SMU University. He's going to be talking about the benefits and pitfalls of artificial intelligence for CPAs. For those of you that attended, I think it was a couple of years ago when the conference was in Houston, it was actually quite fascinating. He used AI to develop something as simple as a document request. But if you put in the appropriate prompts, you can get pretty lengthy, detailed documents. Just something to. I wouldn't recommend using it as your final product, but just something to kind of get you going, a really nice draft that you can dig into. Now, on the flip side of
And
that,
Sean, that was 2 years ago, if I remember. And there's been just think about how AI has developed since then. And that's what Larry's going to be talking about. Sorry to break in.
yeah, no worries. And the other side, I'm sure we all hear AI hallucinations. I think I see a story every couple weeks or two where an attorney will draft some document or report, and the case cites or the references and whatever document that they filed are either incorrect or made up. So there's always concerns when using AI that you need to check your references yourself, and not solely relying on AI. So I'm very much looking forward to this presentation. Another one that's coming up, kind of near and dear to a lot of investigators, forensic accountants' heart, is crypto for forensic accountants. Richard Peters is a partner with HKA, coworker of mine. He has about 25 years of experience in a broad range of topics: cybersecurity, digital forensics, cryptocurrency investigations, incidents response, and regulatory matters. I'm actually working with Richard on a matter right now where I got the call. It's sort of a Ponzi scheme, but I'm doing the traditional tracing of funds from an accounting perspective, but there's a cryptocurrency piece. And this is what I didn't know until I met Richard, is that if you get the appropriate data points for a crypto wallet or from an exchange, you can actually trace crypto. So it is pretty fascinating to see someone that can follow cryptocurrency as it follows through exchanges and crypto wallets, and working with law enforcement to kind of get that done. So I really look forward to see what he has to say at the conference. And then finally, last but not least, Jim Korber is going to be talking about attacking and defending personal injury and wrongful death, economic damages calculations. Jim's going to be joining us from Hattiesburg, Mississippi. If you've ever met Jim or heard him speak, I think he actually has a sponsorship, or the tourist industry in Hattiesburg are paying them, because he always talks about how great Hattiesburg is and all the things that are going on there. But Jim is a managing director at Eisner Amper, frequently speaks and writes on issues involving lost compensation, lost benefits, things of that nature. Writes a lot of the, I guess I'll call it the guidance that's out there. This is actually a true story. I was just trying to refresh my memory about a month ago on a matter, and I was reading through some of the guidance that's out there. And I just sent Jim a quick text because I wanted to bounce something off of him. We went through it together, and he goes, "Well, what are you reading? Like, who wrote it?" And I flipped through the pages to the beginning of the chapter, and lo and behold, what I was reading was written by Jim Korber. So you're going to hear it from one of the very best. So, Bob, who are you looking forward to seeing?
Oh, excellent. Those are some fun people. And I remember a lot of times on AICPA committees and AICPA conferences, seeing Jim speak, and he's a good guy. I'm going to start off kind of with the one of the sessions that I'm really excited about is valuations and estate planning. And we've got Chris Lucas, who's going to do that, speak it to us on that. He's from the Dallas area. He's very active in the Texas Society of CPAs. For some of you that attend some of the leadership meetings or hear about them and so forth at the TXCPA, you'll find that Chris is also involved in helping us run the investment committee for the TXCPA and making us money. But he's got over 30 years of investment banking and business valuation type advisory services. It's Lucas Valuation Group. He's a proven true expert witness, and so oftentimes go to court. And so it's a BV topic plus litigation in that session. Another session, we're going to have an attorney only talking to us about the new business courts in Texas that started out in late last year. And it's for only cases that I believe starting sometime in the fall of last year. And so Clay's going to be, he's an attorney, he's a complex litigation practice, but he's going to be telling us about these new business courts. They're supposed to handle complex litigation. What kind of cases should be in, what kind of cases wouldn't work. He's going to talk to us about, more importantly, what forensic accountants need to know. Are there going to be any disclosure issues that could pop out of this and so forth? These new courts are going to be making written rulings. And so hopefully that'll help us try to come up to speed with respect to practicing and getting some precedents out there in terms of some of the litigation work for those of us who do that, as well as valuation. He's a bachelor from the University of Texas and went to SMU Law School. And I know Clayton very well here in Dallas, and he's well respected. and look forward to that.
Hey, Bob, have you
Yes.
testified in the business court yet?
Not yet, not yet. But Kentucky went through this, I know from personal practice, 2 years ago.
Okay.
And so we're still a little bit further behind. But I have not testified in one. I haven't run across anybody. We were at an ASA meeting the other night, and that was a particular topic. And none of the folks in the audience had been in business court yet. So it's coming. You just need to
Interesting.
know about it and be able to understand, you know.
Yep, definitely.
So another one is going to be a return speaker. So we've got, based upon the evaluations from last year, Dave Duffus from Pittsburgh, HKA, one of your partners there in
Colleagues.
crime at HKA, is going to be our speaker. He's going to be talking about planning for AI CPAs and the CFF credential. On the surface, that is not a sexy topic, okay? But he's going to talk a little bit about, for CPAs who are thinking about going into the CFF credential and its benefits. But it's also for those of us who have those credentials an opportunity to understand and consider some of the value of what that credential means to us and so forth and all that. And as I was putting my notes together, I just remember hearing up here on case, there was a CFF who was working with the attorney to help write questions for the opposing expert, who was not a CFF credential. And they really drilled down on that in the deposition and so forth. And it became apparent that just from a standpoint of just the way the attorney vibe came back was that it was really apparent that this other person wasn't as experienced as the CFF person. And I heard through the grapevine that ultimately played into a good settlement in the matter. So it's, one opportunity to think about it. I use it more as a marketing tool, for people to understand that we do have professional standards to follow and so forth. So I'm sure Dave will talk about that and keep us awake.
Yeah, I tend to use that when there's opposing experts that I'm not sure they're qualified to be giving the opinions that they're providing. Do they have the knowledge, the expertise, the training, the quote unquote credentials? And you can always find sometimes a weak point there when you dig into that. So I look forward to seeing David's presentation.
Yeah, it should be entertaining because I've known David for a long time. He's a former partner of mine, and it used to be where I thought I was mentoring him, and now as I get older, I think he's mentoring me and bouncing off ideas about economic damages and so forth. And he's a tremendous professional and well recognized nationally, as well as one of the principal authors and contributors to the reasonable certainty practice aids. So then we're going to switch it a little bit with some other old friends. I feel like Ringo Starr and his all-star band you hear with some of these speakers, but we're going to get intellectual property economic damages update from Glenn Newman, who's on his own firm now. He's out of the Philadelphia, Jersey Shores area. Glenn's going to be coming down to talk to us. And even though he's got his own firm now, Glenn was a national practice leader for several large forensic accounting practices throughout the years. And I first met Glenn through CPA activities, and later he became my boss. And so pretty good guy and well respected. He's a top-notch expert in IP damages in particular, but also is well-rounded, got a valuation credential, and so forth. He probably is going to talk a little bit about damages related mostly to patents, but he is also very experienced in non-intellectual or intellectual property, non-patent economic damages. So if you got questions in the audience out there from a trade secrets perspective, a copyright, a trademark type thing, he's there. He can handle it. He will be a great source for us to learn from, and really looking forward to seeing Glenn again, helping us out. Um, One other thing is we don't every year we try to include at least one family law topic. And this year, the family law folks from our um, Business Valuation Litigation Committee, which is really kind of a jumbled up name that we hope to change, or at least I'm proposing we change to the Forensic and Valuation Litigation Services Committee. But anyway, family law. And this year it's going to be characterization complexities of NILs, kind of a new topic. And
Hot topic.
Elizabeth, yeah,
Definitely.
and Elizabeth Schrupp was able to obtain a subject expert on that, Michelle O'Neill, Esquire, who is part of the OWL firm here in Texas, high-end family law litigation practice. She's a senior shareholder. And the way that most people describe her is she's a go-to advisor for Texas CEOs, entrepreneurs, and high net worth individuals. Maybe we'll get her to add experts to that proclamation or her marketing tools. She serves as an adjunct professor at the Baylor School of Law and is a trusted advisor. And then kind of closing up the conference, we're going to bring in a heavy hitter, and I mean heavy hitter in terms of experience and so forth. Paul Regan from the Hemming Morris firm out in California. He's a senior shareholder out there and so forth. And when I said Paul's a heavy hitter, I had the opportunity years ago when I first started to get active in the forensics community at the AICPA working with Paul. And I just sat back in amazement and learned the stuff that would come out of his mouth and the knowledge and his experience and so forth. And he's going to give us a little bit of a different twist. He's going to talk about his book, The Forensic. And that book is when Paul first started out, went from as Pete Marwick and Mitchell. He was a senior and got involved in this litigation, and he actually took down Howard Hughes. And his journey of moving into the forensic world started there in high-end litigation. And he's going to walk us through his book a little bit and summarize it. And I know Paul's testified a gazillion times. He's also I've actually testified with him in a couple of international cases. And so I know he's a very tested international expert too. So I've always thought of him as a mentor to many of us at the CPA. And so I think you're going to kind of agree, Sean. We got some pretty good folks and sessions and a variety of topics.
Yeah, definitely. For the young bucks at home, do you want to tell them who Pete Marwick is?
That would now be KPMG, I believe, or as of today, I haven't checked the New York Times this morning, so maybe, no, I'm just kidding.
No, I appreciate
It's
that,
like
Bob.
me starting out at Haskins and Sells.
I may have to buy a copy of Paul's book beforehand so I get him to autograph it while he's there. So
I think it's a good idea, or maybe we can get him to bring a few in case somebody wants to buy one on site or whatever. But I know that I've seen him speak in other places about this, and he's actually had some capacity, or maybe we can get him to give out a signed copy also to some of our participants. I don't believe this year that they're going to be doing this online. Uh, I reserve the right for editing that, but I do not believe it's going to be online. So, that's one of the benefits that people need to understand about this year's conference, and we're part of the conference and so forth.
Oh, and on that point, little incentive for those of you who do show up. We are planning on having a mixer Monday night. We did have one last year.
That was fun.
Wasn't advertised, but it ended up being a lot of fun. Good time to get together, share war stories, and just network in general. So
And make some contacts
yeah.
and so forth, which is all part of the benefit that we hope to give the folks is the networking event. And, we really want you to come to San Antonio. Bring your staff. This is a great opportunity. Sean says he won't poach them from anybody if they're qualified. But bring your staff because they get an opportunity to meet some national people who've been around the block and a few rodeos and so forth. One of the things that I've liked since we started this model of being part of the Summit Conference is, you know, as you look back from the conference, it provides us a great location. I think this year it's going to be at an Embassy Suites Conference Center in the north part of San Antonio. And so it's going to be a good place where and it's also going to be efficient and effective. One of the reasons why we teamed up with this summit model was you get the benefits of having other tracks going on, and the TXCPA gets the economic benefit and passes it through as part of the entrance fees. Any other closing thoughts, Sean?
No, that's it. Appreciate your time today and letting us all know what we can expect at the conference. And I appreciate everyone that's stuck with us through this conversation. Anything you'd like to add?
Just come join us, and we really appreciate it, and look forward to seeing everybody and giving us a chance to have some fun. Thanks, Sean.
Thank you, Bob. Appreciate it.